They don't break you. They break you with permission. You give them the hammer, you give them the blueprint. You point to the cracked pieces of your soul, and you say, "Here, this is where I am weak. This is where you can dig." And they dig. They don't just happen upon your vulnerabilities. They walk through the front door because you left it unlocked. This is your moment, your energy, your power. Don't ever forget. And I see you. Yeah, I see you watching, absorbing, thriving. You are the real ones, the few, the rare, the untouchable. So leave a comment below. Show your presence. Make it count. And remember, every second you stay tuned, every comment you drop, every super thanks you hit, you're owning your presence too. Because being here right now, watching this, means you know the value of presence, of patience, of power. And by the end of this video, yeah, I promise you won't just understand your worth. You'll feel it in your bones. So stay sharp, stay focused, and let's dive into the real truth. They better be careful with you because your presence is not cheap. They came with smiles and promises, and all the sugar-coated lies you were so desperate to believe. And you let them in. You gave them a chair at your table. You gave them your time, your energy, your trust, all the things they never earned, and they used it all against you. The moment you stopped giving them what they wanted, the moment you dared to become something bigger than their petty expectations, that's when the demolition started. And you watched, stunned, wondering how it could have happened. You thought they broke you. Oh, how adorable. Like a little toddler trying to unplug a bomb with a juice box in a dream. But no, they just built on the foundation you gave them. And you just stood there and watched it happen. You can't get mad at them. You can only get mad at yourself for giving them the permission to do it. Remember the bosses? The ones who said you were like family, but paid you in trauma and pizza? They couldn't lead a paperclip to a stapler, but they acted like they were mentoring a generation. They gave you crumbs and called it opportunity. They'd smile and tell you they saw your potential right before they promoted Todd with no soul because he brought donuts. Yeah, those ones. They played power games with a discount deck. They tried to clip your wings and then blamed you for not flying. They tried to freeze you out, cut your hours, cut your credit, cut your light. But somehow you got brighter. You made power out of pressure. And when you stopped asking for their permission, you started owning the room. Quietly, stylishly, with that unbothered smirk that says, "This meeting could have been my resignation letter." Now they watch from the sidelines, pretending not to remember the games they played. But you remember everything, and they're stuck Googling how to mimic your moves. But it's too late. You don't teach what you bled for, and the enemies, please. Half of them couldn't strategize their way out of a group chat. They plotted, schemed, and posted cryptic captions like you'd be scared. Meanwhile, you were too busy sipping your coffee and minding your legacy. They threw shade, but you planted it, sat under it, and read a book called How to Stay Winning Without Clapping Back. You're not angry. You're amused. You watch them like reality TV, dramatic, unnecessary, and always getting canceled by karma. They thought throwing dirt on your name would bury you. But you didn't break. You built right there in the middle of the smear campaign. You didn't fight back with noise. You fought back with results. And now they watch from the shadows, whispering, wondering, praying you don't look in their direction too long. They tried to play chess, but you switched to 4D interdimensional Uno. They're out here drawing wild cards while you already won the game, packed it up, and started designing your own. And the friends, the ones who clapped when it was safe, The ones who swore they had your back until your back was against the wall. They loved you quiet, loved you small. But when you started rising, when your name got heavy and your presence felt like thunder, they switched up, started moving funny. They didn't want you broken. They wanted you beneath them. When you wouldn't stay there, they started whispering. They said, "You've changed." Well, yeah, Brenda. I started liking myself. I started charging my worth. I stopped shrinking for people who couldn't spell loyalty without autocorrect. They switched sides so fast they should have applied for NASCAR. But you didn't whisper back. You just elevated. You let them go like expired coupons. No drama, just a digital unfollow. Because you realize loyalty isn't about who claps the loudest. It's about who's still standing when the smoke rolls in. And now they're stuck trying to explain to people why they fumbled loyalty. You don't need their applause. You outgrew it. You realized the only approval you ever needed was your own. And let's not forget the witches, the fake spirituals, the manipulators in crystals and tarot cards, dressed like Pinterest dreams, talking about energies while hexing you through compliments, burning sage in the same room they just lied in. Oh, you saw them. You felt it. That sick gut feeling in the room when they smiled too wide. But you let them cast. You let them chant. You didn't fight fire with fire. You just upgraded your spiritual firewall and started forwarding their spells to sender. They said they were helping but were casting confusion, mixing charm with poison, talking about energy while draining yours dry. Their spells couldn't bind you because you already made peace with your demons. And once a person does that, no magic can shake them. You didn't have to lift a finger. You just stayed calm, sipped water, minded your legacy, and let the universe slap them with the bounce back they didn't see coming. You're thriving on their curses like it's protein powder, and they hate that for them. They all tried it. Enemies, bosses, friends, witches, they hit you from every angle, emotionally, spiritually, financially. But you moved like water in a firestorm. You adapted, you observed. You stopped reacting and started planning. You became too quiet to read, too quiet to predict. You didn't fight the same. You evolved. Now you don't swing first. You just wait. Let them dig their holes while you build your throne. And through all that madness, you never dropped your coat. You kept it gangster. Not loud, not fake, but the kind of gangster that walks away from betrayal like noted. The kind that protects their peace like a vault and cuts off access like a king tired of peasants pretending to be royalty. You don't need to call them out. Your presence does it for you. The calm you carry now, it's not peace. It's poise after war, and they feel it in their chest when you enter. They know the scariest ones aren't the loud ones. They're the ones who vanish when disrespected, then reappear with the entire blueprint flipped. Now you walk different, you laugh different, you love different. Because when you've been betrayed by bosses, friends, witches, and wolves, you stop offering explanations. You start offering distance, and from that distance, you still rise, still build, still move like a storm with good posture. You didn't just walk through them. You studied them, took notes, memorized patterns. Now you recognize every fake before they even open their mouth. You don't get surprised anymore. You just get sharper. You've been used, lied to, set up, prayed against. And every single time you came back colder, wiser, slicker. You don't beg for peace anymore. You enforce it. You don't look for closure. You create exits. People who played with your name now play with paranoia, wondering if you saw what they did. You did. You saw it all. You just didn't react, because when you know your worth, you stop negotiating with snakes. They thought you'd need validation, thought you'd crumble without applause, but you built your legacy in silence like a monster underground, patient, calculating, collecting receipts with a smile that said, "Keep going. I like this game." And when you rose, you didn't come back screaming. You came back different, smoother, heavier, quieter. The kind of quiet that makes people shift in their seat. The kind that makes liars forget their lines. You became everything they said you'd never be, and then some. You're not bitter. You're not broken. You're bulletproof. They can't cancel you, can't box you in, can't stop you with gossip, guilt, or guilt trips, because you've outgrown the leash they tried to wrap around your soul. The version of you they wanted? That one's gone, buried in betrayal, resurrected in silence, and now walking like vengeance in designer shades. You didn't keep it gangster to prove something. You kept it gangster because anything else would have been beneath you. You handled betrayal like it was background noise, and you let the witches cast their spells. The bosses lie through their teeth. The fake friends rot in their own envy, and still you smiled. You moved. You flourished. Because power isn't loud. Power lingers, and your presence, it lingers like smoke. After a fire they swore they started but couldn't survive. They wanted you dead, distracted, or docile. But you gave them none of it. You gave them grace and distance and silence, and now you give them nightmares because they know they played with the wrong one. And you're just getting started. The rooms you used to beg to be in, you walk through them now like a silent indictment. Every fake handshake feels like a confession. Every "how have you been" feels like guilt in disguise because they know, deep down they know, they did you dirty. And somehow you still showed up glowing, still walking like a storm dressed in patience. Your enemies prayed for your downfall, then got nervous when you didn't respond. The bosses who counted you out, boxed you in, told you what your ceiling was, are now Googling how to mimic your moves. The fake friends are still out there watching from the sidelines, trying to figure out how you're winning without their approval. But you outgrew their applause. The witches are still chanting, still casting their little curses. But here's what they don't get. You don't need protection spells anymore. You became the curse they warned each other about. You eat manipulation for breakfast and smile through sabotage like it's a rerun. You walk like prophecy now, not because you're untouchable, but because you've been touched by everything and still didn't break. You've been betrayed by blood, haunted by memories, hunted by your own mind, and still you rise. And the craziest part? You didn't become cruel. You became clear. You learned the art of calm revenge, the slow burn, the long game. You don't plot in basements. You plan in boardrooms. You don't scream at your enemies. You replace them. You kept it gangster through every betrayal, through every setup, through every fake "I love you," because you knew something they didn't. Real doesn't flinch. Real doesn't fold, and real keeps moving, even when every step feels like fire. And now you don't need a crown. You are the throne. You don't need revenge. You're the lesson. You don't need closure. You walked away while they were still talking. You survived enemies, outplayed bosses, outlived witches, and outgrew friends. And you did it all with that same dangerous smile. The one that says, "I know what you did, I forgave it, and I still came out better than you." That's not gangster. That's legendary. You survived the witches, bosses, snakes, clowns, and chaos, and somehow came out smelling like mystery, money, and moisturized vengeance. Because you didn't just make it out. You made it look damn good, and now you walk like karma's favorite intern, clocking in, clocking out, and collecting receipts. You're strolling through life like the villain in everyone else's redemption arc, except you didn't have to swing, scream, or stab. You just elevated, quietly, unapologetically, like a plot twist with perfect timing. And you're still just warming up.